Well, Lacey, what do we have here?
We got bread, homemade bread, and we're about to have some nice cold sandwiches, and they're gonna be
delicious, I'm hoping. Yeah, because you know, you got the
Okay, so these are the ingredients that you're gonna need to make this delicious bread. It's gonna be like the best bread you guys have ever had, especially for sandwiches. It goes with cold sandwiches, hot sandwiches, any type of sandwich you want. Okay, there's a couple of special items that you're gonna need to be able to make this bread correctly. One of those things is parchment paper, which is easy, and then a Dutch oven. Now, I know you guys have probably seen how people make those loaves of bread in the Dutch oven, and this works great for that, but it also works great to make smaller hoagie sandwich rolls too. So if you have one, this is the time to use it. And if you don't have one, there's other ways that you can try to mimic this. So basically what you're gonna be trying to do is create steam inside of whatever that you're cooking the bread in. So this works because it has a lid. You can try to use like a loaf pan and some tin foil, or they also have special types of cast iron pans that you can use specifically for baking bread. I don't have one of those, so I improvised and I just use this. So I have some flour, I have some water here, salt, sugar, butter, and maple syrup, and of course yeast. Also another special ingredient, it actually creates almost a homemade bread flour. So this is just vital wheat gluten, and I use it in almost all my bread that I use besides like pizza dough. So it just makes the protein content higher in the flour so that you get a nice rise. The texture of the crumb is a little bit more chewy and it holds together easier. You won't have as many crumbs and that type of thing. So I like to add vital wheat gluten to my bread. First thing that I'm gonna do here is pour about half of my water into my glass here. And I'm gonna pop that into the microwave until it gets to about 115 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, look at the bread. It's risen all the way to the top and it's starting to pop out. So it's time to shape our dough into the size sandwiches that we want. And this amount of dough, the recipe that I have, it makes 6 good size hoagie rolls, probably about 6 to 8 inch size. So it's perfect for our family of 4, and we usually have a couple extra for breakfast or something. So I'll just take this. I have a clean countertop here. I just wiped it all down, and some olive oil, and I'm just gonna put some down on the counter. I'm gonna need some parchment paper. This is just easy to put it on the parchment paper while it's rising, so you can easily transfer it from whatever you have it rising on into the Dutch oven. You just pick up the parchment paper and put it in there. I'm gonna cut this down into 6 pieces. I'll just spread out some olive oil like this, and I'm gonna grab my rolling pin. You don't necessarily have to have a rolling pin, but you can just use your hands and shape it out. But I use the rolling pin, and then I'll turn this dough out onto my surface here, and I'm gonna split the dough into 6 different pieces, kind of roll them up and put them back in my pot. And you wanna make sure you have some oil on your hands. That's gonna make sure your dough doesn't stick to you. And you can use a scale and weigh these if you want them to be exactly the same size, but I don't worry about the size, I just eyeball it. So the easiest way to do this is to make a triangle. So like an upside down triangle. So towards you, put the one corner, and then towards the outer edges, put the other two corners. And that's just gonna make sure that the edges of your hoagie isn't bigger than the middle of your hoagie. Just roll it out that way. And then you just take it and just use your fingers and roll it up pretty tight. Flip it over. I kind of squish it back together and then pinch off this edge right there. And then you can take it and kind of roll it. And then take one of these and place it on there. So take your next ball of dough, push it out and roll it into a triangle. And that one's pretty straight and even. Keep practicing and it gets better as you go. All right, so I'm just gonna transfer these over to a cookie sheet and place them back into the microwave where it's warm for probably about 15 to 20 minutes. They don't have to be all the way proof to double in size, but they should rise pretty fast because the microwave is gonna be quite warm. All these pretty much shaped good. Some of them need a little help, but they should straighten out as they rise, so that'll be fine. I have my Dutch oven in the oven right now. It's been heating up since before I even rolled the dough. So it's been in there for a good 20, 25 minutes or so. Really nice and preheated when we put our bread in there. So I have it set to around 425. I think it's time to start putting the bread in there. Now the method to cooking this bread is probably more important than the actual ingredients that you put in the bread. When I put the rolls in there, I'm also gonna put one ice cube in there. And then I'm gonna put the hot lid over that, and then that's going to create like a steamy environment for the bread, and it's going to make a nice crust along the top of the bread. That's what's going to give you a nice chewy texture, and it's going to hold up to anything that you put inside of it. So I'm going to set my timer here. I'm going to set it for 7 minutes. I'm going to cook this bread in the oven, in the Dutch oven, for 7 minutes. And then I also funny story, I actually have my Ninja oven right here as well, and I'm gonna transfer that from the steam into my Ninja oven and finish baking them. But if you don't have like a toaster oven or another oven to use, you can just take them out of the Dutch oven and take the Dutch oven out and then bake them directly into the oven. Cook those for 4 to 6 minutes or until the internal temperature of our bread is at 210 degrees. So my bread is done and I have a cooling rack here, and I'm gonna take the parchment paper off, just leave it on here to dry. I meant to cool. We're making cold sandwiches today, so I'm gonna just leave this bread out on this cooling rack until it's fully cooled, because obviously you don't want warm bread with cold sandwiches. So.
Oh, the bread on the inside is nice and soft. You can hear the knife going through the outside crust, and then it hits that inside and it's just very soft. Oh, that's good bread. Oh yeah. Wow, this is exciting. You got me in the kitchen, spreading the mayo and making sandwiches. That's the fun part of the day, really. It's always nice to have a fresh sandwich.
Oh yeah, with that fresh bread, freshly sliced cheese, and some good ham and turkey.
Reminds me of the times where we used to go to this deli in Tacoma, Washington, and we always go there and grab a couple of sandwiches, and as soon as we grab a couple of sandwiches, we shoot over to the waterfront to eat them. So we wouldn't eat them in the car or anything, we'd go straight to the waterfront. And that was almost like every time we went to that sandwich shop to eat there, that's what we did.
Yeah.
And I remember why we would eat at that sandwich shop. It's that the cheese wasn't cheap cheese. It was some very creamy cheese, good solid meats, and that bread we couldn't get enough of. So that's what made Lacey kind of push forward to make that here at home. I'll push that meat in. Look at that beauty. While you're doing that, I'll go ahead and make my drink.
All right.
Then we got some 100% pineapple juice. Like that. Then we're gonna hit it with a touch of lime. Ooh-wee. Want to taste that?
Sure.
It's got a hint of pineapple. I've been waiting all day to drink that.
Oh.
I know, that's good, ain't it?
Mm-hmm. That is good.
That's it.
Stuff it all in with that knife, and you might have to use some force, but it'll close.
Oh, you killing it with that. Wow, that's a good sandwich, bro. All right, you ready to say a prayer?
Yep.
All right, let's pray. Here, Father. I'm gonna hit the soup real quick. It's got chunks of chicken in it, and it's gonna be homemade. I mean, a little creaminess in there.
Yep.
I like the subtleness of the rice. The chicken is providing that good texture, and the flavor of the mushrooms and everything. Man, this is delicious. I like this. I'm gonna do a piece of that mushroom.
I seared the chicken breast before I added it to the soup, and I taste that flavor of the seared chicken. That's pretty good.
That's healthy for you. Ooh, that looks good. Wow, this is a treat. Now, this is for me? Cheers.
Sandwich cheers.
My bread, very fresh. Like cheese. I like how it can cut through everything inside your mouth, and then all the fresh vegetables and everything. Man, that's delicious.
Yeah, this is good.
I taste some peppers in there too.
Oh yeah,
Everything.
that little pepper slaw.
And I like how you use that real turkey meat.
Yeah.
We should have packed these up and hit the lake.
Oh, that would have been nice. Perfect snack, perfect food to take out.
Want one of those?
Yeah.
Oh, that's delicious. Get a high five on this one.
Sure.
Good job.
Thanks.
Thank you for hanging with us here.
I'll get the mail off my face, and thank you guys for watching.
Well, I stuffed my face.